when you can have those things come together, and the support that we had from Buckeye Nation was unbelievable, and it felt like a home match, which I think was a great thing for us, and the kids just played flawlessly, and I'm so proud of them. They earned every point and earned a national championship tonight.
Open up to questions. Please identify yourself.
How important was the serving for you guys today? That seemed to be the big edge that you guys had. Can you just talk about your effectiveness?
Sure. That's been our bread and butter all year long. We felt that from the time that our guys got comfortable in about early February, when we started really zoning in and getting our serving the way we wanted it, that we didn't believe there was a team out here that could handle the kind of servers that we had, that would be able to see and withstand that kind of pressure over time. The telling thing for me was when, at the end of set one, I think we missed 4 out of 6. Our best spin servers went back and missed when it was a deuce game, and we fought off set points, and then we got that second rotation, and we kept the pressure on. All of a sudden, some balls are in, and I think once they knew that was advantage to us, and then we just poured some gas on the fire, and the guys did a great job from the end line.
Nicola, how confident were you feeling at the end line?
I don't know, like always, I was just tossing the ball as far as I could and then like hands as far as I can. So just the same as always. No pressure. If you play with pressure, it's even worse than like without pressure. So just go and go for it.
Miles, in the semifinal match, you fought back from deficits against UCLA and had to do it again, fending off 7 points in that first set. Can you maybe talk about the mentality of the team and how you were able to do that?
Yeah, it's definitely stressful. I mean, anytime you have to fight off game point 7 times is a bit much to handle. But, everyone just played really well together, and we just focused in on the game plan and executed pretty well. So, as you can tell. But I think just staying calm and not getting too freaked out if they bounce the ball. We're all pretty athletic players, so, just staying calm and focusing.
You talked about, Coach, when you realized, okay, we've got that service edge. When did you realize that? Because BYU did have kind of the lead for most of the first 2 sets.
Yeah. The serving game is really interesting. You can look like you don't know what the heck you're doing when you're hitting them all out of bounds and you're handing them free points. But when it comes towards the end of games and you've allowed your kids to stay with it, like Nick said, without, hey, you've got to put it in, you've got to put it in. When we tell them it's, hey, you've got to keep hitting it. You've got to stay aggressive. And I felt like as soon as we got through the first set, and even though we were down the second set, when we tied it up at 20, hey, now we've got the ability to put service pressure on those guys. And I think the next 4 or 5 serves, they won past them, and they chipped a couple balls over, and we turned them for points. And that's what service pressure does to you. And allowing your kids to continue to just have a free mind and a free swing at it, I think, is what helps us right now. If we were worried about, well, we've made 5 errors in set 1, we've got to only make 3, we probably wouldn't get it over the net. But we don't worry about that stat. What we worry about is, hey, how many aces, how many 1-point passes, how many times are they giving us an easy ball that we can turn into a point? And it happened a lot after 20, and then a lot in set number 3. So I think it just took its toll on them mentally, and it breaks you.
What sort of approach offensively was Christy taking, especially since we saw the balanced offense and just overall?
I think we were more trying to set the middles because we knew they were pretty athletic, like Miles said. So if we set the middles at a quick tempo, we knew that it was gonna be pretty effective.
Too hot for this room, Dean.
Yeah. At least the lights are on.
We choose teams. I thought we knew it was gonna be pretty effective. So that was the game plan, right? Just play with the middles, and they did a great job. Blake hit 800,
846,
and just hit 571. So it just worked all the way to the end.
And this is your first championship for all of you. Is it your first tournament too, and how does that feel?
Yeah, so it is our first tournament and our first championship, and I whatsoever at all.
No.
None of us were expecting a match like that. I think we were expecting all 5 sets of like the first set, like you saw. So I don't know when it's gonna hit us, but when it does, I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I still don't realize one should be better. It was great.
Miles, what did you see on that fan interference call?
Well, aside from almost stepping on the camera guy's face down below, I don't know, a palm frond or something. Just there was a lot going on, but I'm glad we got that call.
Fan hit you with a palm front?
I don't know. I was just staring at the ball and there was like tassels and stuff.
How important was that call for you?
Yeah, for sure.
The
BYU
Cubs guy.
fans are calling him the BYU Barman.
Yeah. The Cubs guy.
Bartman.
Bartman, there you go. That's it. The Bartman play.
Was that third set as well as you guys could play? First 2 sets were neck and neck, and you guys just ripped in that third set. How fun was it? And just talk about the level of play you were able to exhibit.
Just serving.
I think our serving pretty much led that set the whole way, and it's very fun to play when we have great service team because it puts them out of system, and I think it just simplifies the game to a point where you don't have to worry about doing too much, and that's the funnest. I think that's the most fun to play volleyball.
They give you the ball back.
To put it
Coach, what does it mean for volleyball as a whole to finally bring one of those championships more east, away from the typical West Coast, about men's volleyball?
Well, if anybody's keeping track, that's 4 in the last 6 years, right? 2 for Ohio State and 2 for Loyola. So, I mean, it's up to each individual how they want to interpret it, and probably it depends on what part of the country you live in. But I can tell you from our perspective, when we talk to a young man or we talk to anybody about our program, we talk about winning championships too. I mean, that's not just a concept or BYU or anybody else. I mean, Ohio State's about winning championships too.
So
In any sport.
how have you seen the men's volleyball program nationally grow? I know, like, for example, the EIVA, we have Penn State lose its first one in forever, but
Well, I think volleyball is getting better across the country. It's getting stronger. I think you're seeing good volleyball players from the East Coast to the West Coast, and it's just a matter of where do those young men want to go, and what types of goals do they have, and I think what we've established and what some of the programs out here have established is that if a young man tells me, Coach, I want to be the best, I want to win championships, and I'm looking at these schools, I can certainly hold up 2 trophies and say, you have a great opportunity at Ohio State. We'll support you in every facet of your athletic career, academically, and you can win championships. So do you want to play here? Do you want to play 3,000 miles from home? It's obviously their choice, but they clearly have multiple choices now. It's certainly as much different than it was 25 or 30 years ago.
Any other questions?
Pete, do you think this could be a rematch next year on your home court in the title game, given that most of the pieces are back from both teams?
Yeah, I'm worried as heck about just being able to get through my league to get back to this thing, let alone what's lurking out there with all the good young teams in all the conferences. UCLA had a bunch of Long Beach has a bunch of freshmen. BYU's all sophomores. I mean, they're losing one middle attacker, and no pun intended, Driss, but you're replaceable. No, I'm just, there's a lot of good volleyball players coming back, and so it's going to be, we're going to have to fight our you-know-what off to just get in the darn thing, and then hopefully, see if we can produce some results like this. But it will be fun, and it's going to make for a good season next year for sure.
Anything else? Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.